Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
I'm still ringing off the hook.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
It's time to call our meeting to order. We will all stand and do the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Ron Williams.
Here.
Terry Dix.
Here.
Ron Jones.
Here.
So I have Paul Dial.
Here.
Okay. Randy Thomas. Charles Keith.
Here.
Jordan Wade.
Here.
Jeff Simmons. Mark Barron.
Here.
Joey O'Hearn.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum, so we have an official meeting, this morning. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
None for me, sir.
All right, no additions or deletions. I need a motion to approve the meeting from our September 14th meeting. Motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign, that motion carried. All right, the first other item on the action agenda would be a request for incentive, project 22-8, Robbins Manufacturing Expansion.
Yes, sir. So I'll start by showing a video and then I'm going to introduce Mr. Brown from Robbins Manufacturing.
Whether you're installing fresh or saltwater docks, fence posts, or utility poles, one thing is paramount to your industry and ours: quality products that endure the elements and stand the test of time. The kind of quality products that customers have come to expect from Robbins Manufacturing Company since 1938. The Robbins difference is a process that produces the consistent quality that you and your customers depend on. So before you can get to this, we start here with a natural, sustainable, and renewable resource purposefully chosen with the end result in mind. While industry needs and manufacturing methods have evolved, our value proposition has not changed since 1938. Robbins remains dedicated to producing and distributing superior structural wood products backed by the best service and expertise in the business. After choosing the best potential trees for processing, the trees are cut and trucked to one of Robbins Manufacturing's production facilities in either Central or North Florida, where they go through a time-honed 4-step process.
The lumber industry in and of itself is really the last renewable resource that we have on Earth. We have more trees today than we did in the 1900s, for instance, because of all the great management practices that are done around the country. And we utilize it from top to bottom. There's nothing that leaves out of here that's not sold or processed. There's no scraps that go to the landfills or anything like that. Everything is used.
First, the trees are sorted based on end use. Future marine pilings and utility poles are separated from fence posts. The trees are then debarked, peeled smooth, and cut to length using infrared computer technology, with each step monitored by a trained technician.
It all starts in the log yard. When the material comes in, we work with the loggers, getting the right specs with our logs, and from there, the quality control we do at the mill, as far as the graders selecting stuff out, picking out bad wood that doesn't come out like it's supposed to, and that's chipping that wood and making the mulch out of it. Robbins goes to an extended length of the quality that we do here, a layout procedure with logs and with our product as it comes in that we manufacture. So it's very intense. By the time it gets to us over here at the kiln, it's got to be right before it goes to the treatment plant. Robbins quality is by far the best.
Whether the end use is marine pilings, fence posts, or utility poles, all products are kiln dried to reduce water content, so that the wood has the maximum capacity to absorb the preserving solution.
Well, computer process is extremely important. In fact, we recently upgraded it to keep up with all the technology going on today. It allows us to monitor the QC, the amount of chemical going in per cubic foot, and we continue to just produce the best quality poles that we can with that computer technology.
Pressure treating with Walmenac CCA provides proven protection from termites, marine organisms, and fungal decay. The process includes pilings, fence posts, utility poles, or lumber being placed into a treating cylinder where they are subjected to a vacuum process that removes the air from the cylinder and from the wood. Once the vacuum process is complete, the cylinder is filled with a preserving chemical and pressurized to a specific standard depending on the materials and use. The final treated products are time-tested and safe for all approved uses as directed by the US EPA. The computerized state-of-the-art treatment process is controlled by one of our highly trained and experienced personnel to ensure achievement of our quality standards. Robbins Manufacturing Company follows a proprietary process, including analysis of chemical concentrations and core samples. This ensures the highest quality standards for penetration and chemical retention. As an added step, Robbins utilizes the Southern Pine Inspection Bureau, the leader in providing quality assurance standards to the softwood lumber industry since 1915.
Quality is in every aspect of our business. We're looking at it all the way from the trees and the woods that we're bringing in, after we peel them, after we dry them, after we treat them. We're looking at when we put them on the truck, and we're trying to do everything we can to make sure we have quality products going to our customers.
Family owned and operated since 1938, Robbins Manufacturing adds value to everything we sell with deep product knowledge, industry insight, and a pride in quality that runs generations deep. The result is loyal, satisfied customers who rely on us to deliver exceptional products, which are used to create outstanding, beautiful projects.
So just a little background, we were approached earlier this year by Robbins Manufacturing, and we met with planning and zoning, had some discussions with their team just to ensure that the expansion, there would be no need to amend what their land use is, anything like that from where they're located, and the steps that they would need to take in order to be approved or have their site plan approved. So they're already in discussions with planning and zoning throughout the county. And further discussions, Mr. Brown asked if there were any incentives available to local companies. So there's some discussions. We've kind of scored the project, and I have an idea of what I feel we could incentivize, but I offered him to come speak to you, the board, and tell a little bit from his perspective about the company and give you guys a chance to listen from him and then vote on whether we would like to incentivize the expansion or not. So, Mr. Brown?
Good morning. My name is Bill Brown, and I'm CFO of Robbins Manufacturing. And driving up this morning from Tampa, I work in Tampa. I practiced this thing for about 5 or 6 times, so I'm not sure what version you're going to get, but hopefully it's the right one. Anyways, as Jennifer mentioned, on the video mentioned, we're a Florida company. We started in 1938, and I've grown and bought and sold businesses over that time. And in 2017, we really started focusing in with our pole peeling and treating operation in Terrytown, Florida. I don't know whether you're familiar with Terrytown. It's not real big. It's about the size of this room. But Terrytown is located about halfway between I-75 and Claremont on Highway 50. And it's a big piece of property we've had for probably 40 some odd years. And we just added to it recently. So it's about a 60, 70 acre parcel. At any rate, we both have a pole peeling operation, a treating plant operation there. And in 2018, we met and reached a deal with Mr. Cochran with Cochran Forest Products, which has been in Columbia County for a long time. We've been friends, and we were their largest customer. And eventually he agreed to sell and we agreed to buy. So that was at the end of 2018. And we've been spending a lot of money on that place to do some deferred maintenance that needed to be done, adding some loaders and putting in a $1 million classic pole peeling upgrade, if you will, to make the pole peeler increase its capacity and hopefully a bit more efficient. So we're committed to this. We're real happy with this operation here and the people, and it's working well. So around 2020, we realized we did not have enough treating capacity, and we said, we got to find another treaty. We got to do something else. And to be quite candid and honest, Lake City was not our first choice. We wanted to find something a little farther away. We're only 125 miles from Lake City. And to build a treating plant, you really like to get them apart by a couple hundred miles. And we were looking for something over on the East Coast, maybe near Savannah or something like that, to help cover our customer mix demand that's going up the East Coast. Well, long story short, we couldn't find anything that worked. So we came back and started looking at the Lake Cities and said, we believe the demand is there. They can go west, they can go north, they can go, east over to Savannah. We think we can make this work, even though it's only 125 miles away. That's what I do, is I put pencil to it and worked it up and came up with a pro forma that we're pretty happy with and comfortable with. And that's putting in a treating plant and a new dry kiln, an additional dry kiln here in Lake City. And you've got your project there. It's about a $6.5 million deal. And when we got through it and the board voted to do this, then I went about how am I going to pay for this? So we secured a loan from our bank, and in that process, they put us on to Jennifer and your Economic Development Authority board, and we got the ball rolling, saying, how can you help us? So Jennifer's been a great help in giving us the information we need to submit the application to you. So thank you. And if I'm talking too long, you wave your hands so I know to cut it off. So I told you about Cochran. Happy with that. The money we spent. We think the project is going to add about 14, I won't say at least 14 additional people. There's about 17, I believe now, that's in Lakes that we employ in Lake City. And what's going to be unique about these 14 people is the mix of personnel that we're going to need, because now we're going to be doing a lot more. When you add this treating plant, not only are we going to be treating the production that comes off that pole plant, oh, by the way, we need to buy that much and a little bit more of peel logs from the outside to come in so we can treat. Because that treating plant really needs to do 180,000 cubes. I know that doesn't mean anything to you, but right now, Lake City peels about 50,000 cubes a month. We think we're going to increase the capacity maybe to 70 to 80. We need 160, maybe 200 would be really nice, of cubes going through that treating plant. Right now, in Tarrytown, we're putting through 300,000 cubes in a month. So that's the sort of numbers, kind of the feel for what we've got to do. So this is going to be a sizable operation. So not only do we need we believe we need a general manager who will be certainly a highly compensated individual within our company. They'll need some managers. We'll need a yard manager, which we pretty much identified in Tarrytown that will transfer up here. We'll need an additional salesman, professional salesman. We'll need at least another administrative person in the office to help with inventory and billing and whatever. And then you have some other treating supervisor, and then you've got the skilled and unskilled labor force, loader operators, treating operators, guys that load the trucks. So all in all, we're gonna get to 14 people, but it's a good mix of people. You've got professional, you've got administrative, managerial, and you've got skilled and unskilled positions. So that's why in the report there, you see the average hourly rate is $22 an hour. And again, I worked this up 3 or 4 months ago, and as you know, things are increasing, so all of these numbers are going to be bumped up as by the time we get to it. We think, if all goes well, we think we're going to be operational by January 1st, 2024. We think it's going to take us a year to build the thing. We started obviously the process. We spec'd out the equipment. We've actually ordered, I believe, the dry kiln. We're working with zoning and site work to get that laid out so we can start dealing with what needs to be done on the site. So we're moving along with the project. Hopefully it can be January 1st. That'd be really great. As you may not know, I'm sorry, right now there's a lot of demand for our product. From 2017 through this year, we've more than doubled the volume for pressure treated poles and pilings that's coming out of Terrytown. We can't handle that much. And so our customers are asking for more, and we can't give them any more. So it's been a very difficult situation. So we need this, we need it this year, but it is what it is. So that's the wide part of what we're doing and the size of it. I know I'm a little prejudiced and proud. I think we do a good job. I've been with Robbins for, I think this is my 28th year, and I'm one of the new ones, but we have a lot of people that have worked there for a long time, and we feel like we're a good employer. We feel like we've treated our people well. In fact, I didn't know whether to tell this story or not, but when I was looking at the website to make sure that we could download this video that you looked at, there on the Google thing, it says, ratings. Well, we're not real big into ratings as a manufacturer, but there was a 5-star posting. The first one popped up, and it read, a good place to work if you like to work. And I thought about that and said, I don't know what the guy gave us 5 stars, so I guess it means a positive way. But that's a good thing. If you want to work, this is a good place to work. So anyway, that's kind of who we are. We really like to partner with you guys and help us to make this thing a success. It really can be, I'm going to say, the shining star for us, for you in Columbia County, and for us as well, that to have a state-of-the-art treating facility located right next to your pole peeling operation, it can rock. It can be rock. It can be very successful. A lot of things still have to happen. We know we've got to find a lot of trees to peel. We've got to find a lot of peeled poles to bring in to treat. Still have to find customers, and you can help us. We've got to find some people who want to work. So thank you for your time this morning. Thank you for your consideration. If you've got any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them. But again, thank you so much.
We have put an emphasis on helping our local businesses when they want to expand. Paula, we have a formula that we use, and before we get into questions and answers from the board, do this company meet all the criteria that we have set forth for giving some sort of a rebate or incentive to?
I would like to ask one clarifying question. Bill, on the agenda, I think you have a copy of item number 2. your 14 additional employees, and then you had mentioned that you would add a second shift later. Is that
Yeah.
still in the works?
Yeah, absolutely. That's where you really make the project go, is when you can add a second shift. And, you know, if things go well, first year, hopefully we can do 1 million cubes, a little over 1 million cubes, 100,000 cubes a month. And then second year, hopefully get into that 2 million cube range. Again, Terrytown right now is at almost 4 million cubes. So when we get that second shift, which would be, you know, a whole new, you need a treating operator, you need a QC person, you need loader operators, you need guys that can run trucks. So you got another 6 to 8 people to make the thing work.
Very good. And I apologize, I didn't have the $22 an hour average wage on here. But I don't think that's quite 115% of current wage rates. But according to my scoring, yes, sir, they do qualify.
Okay, our director said this company do qualify. Now we'll take questions and comments from the board. If there be any.
Question.
Yes, sir.
I know a little bit about the Robbins family growing up in Tampa,
Oh, great.
60s, early time. I appreciate your passion for the company. I mean, people that work for Robbins. And we're as passionate about our community as you are your company. And what we're looking for is partners. We have a great community. We want community partners. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of Robbins' involvement with the community?
I'll do my best. I think there's a couple things that stick out on our community. You know, our plant, let me back up a bit. In the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, we were in the pressure treated lumber business, where we pressure treated dimensional lumber and sold a lot to Home Depot. And that was really the heart of our business. And we sold that business in 2017. So, but during that time, you know, we were much larger. And that operation in Tampa was in what's the right word? A distressed, a lower neighborhood. And we somewhat got involved in the community redevelopment effort and spent time, in fact, our chairman, Mr. Hall, was on the board, working to try to improve the neighborhood. You know, we tried to obviously hire people and do what we could, you know, to improve the situation. Now, did we make a difference? I don't know. It's certainly better than it was before. I mean, it's still going to be a difficult area, but we tried to improve it. We've made significant capital investments in rental property that's in that area to, again, encourage businesses to come in and develop. So it's improving. The other thing is, it's not necessarily directly to our community, but I think it shows the heart of Robbins. A couple of years back, we had a hurricane that went through and devastated the Bahamas. I don't remember the name, but it was about 2 or 3 years ago. And there was actually a friend of mine who knew somebody that in the Bahamas, I believe it was in the Abacos, I'm not sure, said, you know, look, Bill, they just got wiped out. They don't even have a dock that they can bring supplies in. They don't have anything. Can you help us out? So, you know, I went to our board. I went to Lawrence and our operating people say, look, hey, can we do something? And we did, and we shipped over, I think 2 truckloads of poles and dimensional lumber for them to build a dock that they could start receiving stuff to build their community back. Now, was that directly in our area? No, but I think it shows the heart of us wanting to do the right thing to people and for people.
Very good. Yes, I remember Robbins Lumber in a positive manner. I was young then, but it just seemed like the family had a good name in
you. We like to think so.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if this disqualifies me. Robbins is a customer of our family company.
Recruit.
Can I make a comment?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can come out.
Okay. I have nothing but good things to say about Robbins, and Cochran. Cochran actually reached out to us whenever you guys took over, Calvin did, and said, look, we want to grow and we need some help. And, you know, they, and I guess bottom line, the Robbins company is they under promise and over deliver. So I think they're a fine example of an old company that's been established here and new folks that are good folks, because we know you back in the Home Depot days.
Yes, sir.
We had the distribution center with Home Depot on Water Street. You guys were giant suppliers to Home Depot, and you don't get there doing a sloppy job.
No, they're a difficult, difficult company to work with at times, but because of, I guess, the way we like to do things, we really like to service our accounts. We really like to service our customers. And that's maybe why it was difficult to handle Home Depot. I mean, they're demanding, I'm not kidding you.
Sure.
So, but we like to step up and we do the job. Thank you for your comments. And I'm sorry, can I ask?
Terry Dix, it's CDT trucking is, you deal with, or
Yeah,
all your folks deal with my son Clint.
Yeah.
But I'm not that involved in the operations today, but he has nothing but great things to say about you guys. Now, they have high standards, and that's the kind of company we like to do business with, because that makes us better. So,
well, thank you.
Well, if you don't live in the Watertown area, or just happen, I guarantee you that 85% of the people in Columbia County don't even know it. We all refer to it as the pole plant, where the pole plant is. I mean, they're
That's right.
quiet, they sit back there, they do their job, and they don't bring any bad baggage to the community. They isolate it out there and they do a great job of what they do.
and Ron, what I like is they need product that we grow here.
Absolutely.
You know, we're in the timber industry too, so we understand that sustainable circle. So that's another angle that you guys bring a lot to this community.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah, we need the timber. And, that's one of the things that that's going to make it, I don't say make or break it, but that's an area that we have to be comfortable with, and we can continue to get timber to supply that mill, because we need more than what we can get.
And I actually ran into, I think it's Brian, at one of the forestry meetings, unrelated, didn't know his connection to you guys. And he was over there in the forestry industry, getting involved and trying to know more there. So they are a company that invests.
Okay, any other comment from any other board member?
I just say, when they started this process, we went down to the facility to meet with them, look around. They keep an immaculate facility, well run, clean, organized. A lot of times you can tell a lot about a company by the way they run their plant. It was very well run.
So it says you've been established since 1938 overall. How long have you been in Lake City?
We've just when we acquired Cochran Forest Products in 2018, but we've been doing business with Cochran, I don't know, from the get-go, I guess. I'm not sure about that. Probably when we put in that treating plant up in Town is when we needed additional logs. So that's probably when that relationship developed more.
I don't have a question, I just have a comment. You know, as we see our employment rates kind of increase because it's seasonal, but you know, Career Source, Florida Crown, definitely would love to work with you. And, you know, if it's the pleasure of the board to move forward to find those 17 employees, 14 employees.
Right. Yeah, we're not a seasonal business.
Any other comments?
Just one.
Yes, sir.
Is there any, negatives to the business in the sense of odor or, I know you probably got a good standing with the EPA, but for the community itself, you know, some
Is there
some
anything
timber industries produce odor. How is your operation?
I'm not to say that again, I forgot to put my hearing aids.
Odors.
Do
Do you emit odor?
Odors. No, I'll say no. I mean, I'm sure there's some. I'm working there in Tampa when we were treating it. No, I never really smell anything. That's not an issue of the emissions. You know, you've got the dry kiln, you know, it's putting out heat as well, but you know, you don't smell anything other than maybe pine cooking or something.
Yeah.
But it's never really.
I'm talking about an odor that would cover the.
No,
Yeah.
no. You know, back in the day, I grew up in Jacksonville, and you talk about the odors when we had those sawmills back there in Jacksonville. Anything like that.
My Watertown community backs up to their business. And I never had a complaint from anybody in the Watertown area about odor or anything like that.
Yeah, but to Ms. Jones' point, is we're adding a new production facility, we're adding a treating plant, but it's not gonna emit any odors. What we have to be careful of is making sure that we don't spill any chemical. That's a problem. So that's why we're spending the money we are, doing it right and having it contained, and the EPA blessing us that, you know, you're doing it the right way.
If anything, you tend to smell a fresh pine smell.
So that's all I've smelled when I've been out there.
We like that. That's a good thing.
Mhm.
That smells like money.
Well, I wasn't gonna say that, but you took my word.
Any other comment? What are you recommending in incentive that we provide, Mr. Brown and his company?
So if the board will, look on page 3, as we look at the scoring guidelines of, this is a manufacturing project that would fall under our targeted industry. So I gave 2 points there. Capital investments qualifies for an additional 3 points. Size of the addition is an additional point. New employment, I added 2 points there with the 14 plus 8. I did not give a score for the wage rates. However, considering they're local, I did give a point for subjective criteria on my behalf.
You did 3 on capital investment.
Yes, sir. So per my calculations, that would give us 9 points, qualifying them for 7 years of a rebate or abatement of 75%. It doesn't quite hit the 150% just based on the inflated minimum wage rate. So I didn't give points for that.
And just clarification, they're not asking for anything up front. It's earned
Correct.
as they go.
Correct. Yeah, no upfront incentive, what we're looking at. So we as a board had discussed existing businesses versus new businesses with, do we abate the taxes versus a rebate? And with existing businesses, we had agreed to do a tax abatement. So, you know, they would essentially get 75% of their tax reduced, so they wouldn't pay that upfront for 7 years.
All right, any questions on the breakdown in point and Tiffany? If not, I'll
I
entertain.
got one question.
Yes, sir.
75% then of what?
Of what
I mean,
their,
what's the
of their
amount?
base rate. Yeah, I did not calculate that, I apologize, but I can pull those numbers and show you what those would be.
Would that be the tangible personal property tax?
Yes.
I think it's about 15,000, 14, 15,000.
Now, that would be on the improved property as well. So we'd have a base rate now, and then the addition that they add, once the property appraiser evaluates that, it would be 75% of that improved property.
But they're putting their money up front, so
Yes.
that's the kind of business I like to see.
Okay, any other questions or comments? If not, I entertain a motion to, take staff recommendation with the, abatement.
Make that motion.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor, signal by saying aye. You got the 16, you got the extension.
Excuse me.
Yeah. We have, all ayes and one, we have one that, extend. Terry have affiliation directly with this company, so he, is not voting on the, action today.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, keep me straight.
All right.
I don't want to get fired from a non-paying job.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
I'll follow up. Absolutely.
Okay. All right, you want to move on?
Absolutely.
All right.
So several of you attended our master class that was hosted by Vision First Advisors here a couple of weeks back. The commissioners who attended had very good feedback, and I just wanted to kind of bring to the board and ask if this is something you'd be interested in doing, either quarterly or maybe once every 6 months, setting up a workshop of this type to involve, our community partners and those who are involved in economic development, to really understand the process and how we all get involved and how we improve Columbia County. So just wanted to put that out there to ask if this board would be interested in entertaining either a quarterly or biannually workshop of this sort.
I think biannual would be better instead of quarterly.
Yeah, we do get kind of busy, so quarterly is. Yes, sir.
How much did that cost us to put that on?
It didn't cost anything other than the food.
It was a very good workshop.
I do not think so, but that's me.
Yeah. Well, I did. I thought it was very good.
My only regret was I didn't leave a little earlier.
Well, each his own.
I understand I left right before I got involved. Swan River came up right after I left.
It was maybe,
I don't recall that,
and I understand what you're saying. I was waiting for the punchline and I had to leave early. And I'm sure there was some benefits from it, but if nothing else, it's the beginnings of us learning how to interact, work together, at a bigger level than this room.
Yeah.
So, that part, if we take that and we work that, success isn't one step.
Right.
It's multiple steps, but it's where do you start? Where do
Yeah.
you take that first step? So I share some of your concerns, but on the other hand, I look at it as the first step.
Yeah.
So what do we do from here? I think was the question mark I had in my head is, okay, how do we took that first step, how do we build on that and make it more than talk?
Well, I went back to the store with 3 pages of notes. I'm not a big game player from that side of things, okay? But I loved the information that we got from that meeting. I went back to the people, my managers, to talk to them about what to expect from the idea of what they were talking about, working at home and people that have come back and customer basis of what we're looking at being in the retail business. And I had every one of my guys, I called them and I said, I want to read these numbers to you about what we're dealing with a whole different retail market based on how people are working and what they're doing. And I thought from that side of things, it was extremely good.
I would agree with Mr. Van, because, we actually work with a lot of, employers. And so explaining to them that, your job seekers are evolving and they're looking for different things. And, just to know that we're kind of on the same track, since, explaining to employers exactly what, data was being presented, because it's, if you're not there on the ground level and working like we do, you'll be disconnected from it to his point. And if you never bring it up to your employees, you won't know. You'll think things are still like 15, 20 years removed, and that's how it should be. And just like Mr. Brown made that comment, when we see it all the time, it's like, it's a good place to work if you want to work. So it would be a great, I think, great information, and mainly, dealing with quasi-state governmental agencies, the data was real time. And you need real-time data to make real-time decisions. And ever since I've been part of the Career Source, I've been a big advocate of that. It's like, hey, let's get better data. You can't make decisions on data that's 2-3 quarters behind. That business doesn't work like that on the private side, nor should the state, but I digress.
So I would offer up, before we schedule this next class, if you have any specific ideas or topics or things you'd like to cover, let's talk about that, so we can then identify the best source of facilitating that meeting from that point. So, and if it wasn't something that you found valuable, I would like to talk to you and find out what we can do to improve that.
Maybe a list of expectations for the next one, right?
Okay.
That would be good. But I do like, Mr. Van's point about the information. And I did take away a bunch of information. We used to have a customer, Armstrong World Industries, that says the rate of change internally is not greater than the rate of change externally. The end is in sight.
Their end did come in sight. They're gone.
Right.
Biggest flooring manufacturer in the
That's
world,
right.
and they're gone.
That's right. Because they couldn't stay up with it.
Exactly.
And they even knew what would get them, and it got them. They couldn't stay. So that's what I got out of the guidance in Mississippi is the velocity, the terms of this change. And that's the reason I made the point of this whole fossil fuel attitude. It is flipping our, not country, but world upside down. And if we don't get that corrected, we haven't seen anything yet.
And it's a two-headed dragon. If you don't do something with the use of fossil fuel, our great-great-grand not gonna have a world. And sometimes we look at what it costing us to change from fossil fuel to some alternative fuel, and it's a catch-20. You gotta have a happy medium somewhere between the fossil fuel industry and the alternative fuel industry. But we got to do something with climate change for our grand and great-grand.
We gotta get our children raised first, though.
Yeah, but if you ain't got a world for them to live in,
Look, we won't get into that, but you gotta take it in steps, not drink out of the fire hydrant all the time.
I was looking at this one, the Alps over in I guess in Europe, when they had the lockdown, they hadn't seen the mountains, the Alps in 20 years. And during the month lockdown they have during COVID, you could see the mountains again. So that just shows you there's a problem there.
Well, just remember when you pay your light bill, and you see that extra cost.
Yeah, I don't mind.
You are saving the house.
I don't mind paying it for my great-grand. I don't mind paying for my great-great-grand to have a world to live in.
Didn't you just witness him getting his leg switched?
Terry, I got a question. When did they start taxing extortion? At least leave the tax on.
All right.
We gotta have fun
We
somewhere.
digress.
Right?
I don't think
next step of these sort of workshops.
Right.
Like, I don't know if this is a possibility. I would love that. I used to work in grant writing, and after you lose so many grants, we would hire somebody to kind of come and like pick our grants apart. It might be nice to have a professional come and say, hey, you've lost these last 5 bids, let's pick them apart and see Columbia County's lacking in this should have been done better. I don't know if that's a possibility.
They're gonna say infrastructure.
Excuse me.
They're gonna say infrastructure.
No, but I mean, I've gone to a few of these things, and I think we can all agree it's usually the same people in the room, and outside eye might be able to say, here's your bigger problems. If it is infrastructure, it is something else.
Okay, so we look at biannual,
Concern was.
once a year.
Yes.
You got an answer, George?
All right.
I think that was, some of us might come to classes like that looking for the answer. You know, but a part of the answer, or a lot of the answer lies right here. That's what our responsibility is, to listen to
Definitely so.
folks like that, to digest it, to put it with things like you're talking about, and keep working at it.
Okay. All right, director's report.
Just a couple of quick updates. So I know there was some concerns regarding the wastewater treatment plant, Florida Jobs Growth Grant at the industrial park. Stosh and David and Mr. Kirby had all gone to Tallahassee to meet with DEO. I believe it was late last week, we did get information back from DEO that they're willing to offer very agreeable loan terms through the rural revolving loan program that is gonna bridge that gap. So essentially, we will have all of the funding in place to build that out. So we can go ahead and issue our notice to proceed on that project.
Here's what the board done at our last board meeting. I think it was the last board meeting. We divided that project into 2 phases. First phase is getting everything ready for construction. So it's gonna cost $2 million to do that. And we'll get that project started. Matter of fact, that is probably out for bids now to get the first phase started. So we're not gonna wait until we get all the money. We'll do it in phases, so when a company comes look, we can say over there where construction is started, that would be the sewer treatment plant. And you see the earth being moved and things, that's all, you just don't see the trees and the bell metal growing.
Next item up for on the list is a project that I'm working on. I had a conversation with the state. Essentially, the question was, how can I help you help us market our site better, right? So how do we get our name out there in the world of the larger OEMs and those types of manufacturing facilities that are looking for large amounts of contiguous acres? And so the state had been in discussions with LoopNet over piloting a project. So essentially the state is sponsoring our LoopNet advertisement. But what this does is gives us the data of who is looking at the industrial park, and not only who is looking at that, but what other sites they're looking at. So it's a 6-month project. It's not costing the county any dollars. The state is offered up, Enterprise Florida has offered up a grant to cover the cost. So they're marketing the North Florida Mega Industrial Park as industrial land for sale. And essentially it's the data that we get from this, which is going to be really beneficial. So we can now see what types of companies and selectors are specifically clicking on and viewing this particular parcel of land. So we know more specifically who to target and who to have conversations with. So I just wanted to share with this board that that is something that the state has offered up and we now have in place. So if you pull up LoopNet now, we're actually the first parcel of land that comes up when you're looking for an industrial parcel of land.
On the, or in the, I think you told me that the cold storage company that we gave the land to home shopping in Columbia County now?
They are, and to update the board on this, because, I was to bring the economic development agreement back to you for review. Mr. Foreman got that to me last week. There's a couple of updates that I need to do to match up with the company's expectations. So we'll have that, ready for you to review in our next meeting in December. The owner of the company and I have been in constant communication. He and his wife are looking for houses here. So I was not aware they were looking to relocate, but they're actually moving to Lake City. So that's how, serious he is about moving this project forward. The other update I wanted to provide is, Monday and Tuesday of this week, we met with 5 different short line rail companies about the industrial park and managing the rail business inside. And I'm confident in saying that we had 5 very good presentations. A couple stood out. I will say that I anticipate by our next board meeting being able to present not only the name, but kind of the memorandum or MOU with this company that we're moving forward. We have a couple who are really looking at this as a business development acquisition as opposed to just building rail. So it's very exciting how invested they are in not just coming to us and asking us to build it, but they're willing to put in their own dollars and use their own resources and their own marketing and bringing their own clients and customers to expand here. So we've had several really positive meetings and good feedback from these companies that it's really exciting to hear what they're proposing to build out. So more to come on that. Just know that they were good meetings, and we'll have something that we can show you as ideas of what they're looking to build out here. Sasha, is there anything you wanted to add about?
No, it was just really good to see our industrial park being such wanted by some players in the rail industry. So that was really good to see that.
Yeah, and these are nationwide companies. These are not just here. A couple based out of Utah and have business at the Port of California and so on and so forth. So these are very substantial companies. But I think you'll feel as we do that they're a fit for Columbia County and what we're doing here. And that's all I have.
That's all?
Mr. Chair.
All right, any of the board members have anything to come before the board? Comment, question? You name it?
I just wanted to say one thing is, for about 20 years, we've been having this veteran stand down, partner up with American Legion, Post 57. And the stand down that started out, we're trying to target, identify homeless veterans within Columbia County. But you know, the organization has been so good, you know, we haven't identified that many homeless veterans, so we kind of opened it up for just resources for veterans. Come in there, identify some of the health concerns they need and other community resources. So we probably have about 25 partners. About 3 years ago, we would apply for a grant, and we weren't receiving a grant for this homeless stand down. So we now have a lot more donations from the community and our partners. So we become self-sufficient, and we're having this event today at Post 57 from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock. I believe the advertisement already went out to I know the commissioners and chamber and other people at this. So I just want to invite you guys out there to see what good deeds and work the community is doing here in Columbia.
Okay. All right, anything else from any board member? All right, motion for adjournment? All right, we adjourn.